introduce this session, but I think I'll start by reminding everybody what the aims of it are. We have a source who keeping fairly nameless just so that you can appreciate some of the problems of managing sources and sorting out their significance. Imagine that you're working on sources with students at school. You found someone from the local community who's willing to come in to give evidence or provide information or to tell a story. How would you organise and manage that? But of course, oral sources raise all sorts of issues about sources, which we've looked at in relation to pictures, photographs, artefacts, and the rest. So it's just another aspect of what we're doing this morning. So, these are postgraduate history students of the University of Leicester. This is the source. We're going to give you about an hour, and I'm going to retire from the scene and let you sort one another out.
So if I'm the source, you're the meal, aren't you? And I've got to make the most of it. Born January the 12th, 1914. A war baby. I couldn't tell you much about that. But I can tell you something about the war that hit me when in 1932 I joined the army, spent a couple of years in the desert, and then was off to Greece. Before we went to Greece, we didn't know, I mean, we knew that there was fighting and that sort of thing. We were given leaflets about Trieste. It was the War Department's propaganda, so that the Germans should think that we were going to Trieste, but we didn't land it. We didn't land in Trieste. We landed in Greece, in Athens. There were about 80 of my chaps. I was in the Royal Corps of Signals. I was with my brother. There were 30 of us in what was called an operating section. We did teleprinters, telephones, clerical work generally. There was another lot who did lines, telegraph lines and that sort of thing. We arrived to a population that was delighted with us. If you've never been kissed by a lot of strangers, I have. It's a little bit overwhelming. They were very, very pleased to see us after about 3 years of German enemy domination. And we made off to the suburbs of Athens to the Hotel Cafesia, which had been the air headquarters of the Luftwaffe and now was the air headquarters of the RAF. I was upstairs on the 3rd floor, I think it was. Had a bed, no sheets, but we had blankets, and it was very, very nice after our sort of desert life, and it was in civilization as well. We had 6 weeks of being looked after by the population who knew we were friends, and they were very, very hospitably inclined toward us. We knew that there was trouble. We knew that the people who had run Greece during the presence of the Germans, who were, I suppose, patriotic Greeks and communist types and social democratic types and that sort of thing, they had run Greece in mountain areas. We knew that they weren't satisfied with the fact that they were not going to be the government. They were not going to be immediately put in charge, because the government of the Greeks was in exile, like most of the European countries, in England. And on the boat that took me to Athens, we were with the Prime Minister of Greece, George Papandreou. And they were a bit miffed, I suppose, having the inhabitants of Greece, the people who hadn't been in London, they were a bit miffed at not being made to take a part in the reconstruction of the country or something like that. We were a bit uncertain about it all. We were kind of isolated in Cafesia, which was outside Athens, but we knew that there was trouble, and sometimes after a few days we started hearing noises which meant more trouble. Could I tell you of this, that we were not in our lot are very military-minded types. We were clerks, bank clerks, accountants and that sort of thing. And although we wore uniform, we were not really military in many ways. I was in the army, and the army always treated their chaps rather differently from the RAF. And one day I was in the refreshment place of the, where we ate. A chap came in from the RAF and said, "We want you to give a hand to enlarge the hotel garden so that we can get Wellingtons down. They can bring stuff to, keep us going if there's any trouble." And I don't know how many people volunteered. I didn't see any hands go up. Nobody volunteered to keep this, to sort of keep going. One night, I think about 2 o'clock in the morning, my brother and I woke up and they were shouting from 30, 40 yards, 50 yards away, "Surrender! Surrender, comrades! We are your friends!" And it was the ELAS, the military wing, I suppose, of the chaps who took a different view about the government, of the future government of Greece than the actual government. It was them. Well, you can imagine being woken up at 2:30 in a night, being shelled, when previously you were being kissed, and everybody in the hotel, all the chaps in army uniform, dashed downstairs, and we realised that we got some kind of a battle on because these chaps kept on firing. And they fired throughout the night, and I could tell you about sort of what happened during the night, but in the morning we hadn't slept, we hadn't shaved, we hadn't eaten, but the dawn came and these chaps seemed to withdraw. They were perhaps too good targets. Now, most of the RAF chaps were situated in other hotels in Kefissia, which was a posh